Did it really look that way? Because I was struggling.
No, you didn't really.
Right, okay. Maddie, whenever you're ready.
I don't even
Sorry,
know exactly.
sorry. Okay, right. Anyway, Maddie, whenever you're ready.
Do I have to watch you?
Obviously, it's recording now.
Hi, my name is Madison Mackay, and this is my Unit 13 FMP. So what I'd like to achieve with my FMP is I want to get more confident with speaking as I'm doing a podcast, and for a future career I'd like to go into some aspects of radio, hopefully presenting. So in doing this, I'm working on my presenting skills, having a look at different presentation styles, seeing which one best fits me, as I would like to be a bubbly personality that people enjoy listening to, not just someone that's in the background and they don't really want to listen to. So for my initial ideas, I had three. So I had like the rough area of sports, what's happening in the world, and climate change. This is mainly because these are things I thought are quite popular at the minute. Sports is always a big topic, no matter the time. Climate change is a very on-topic, popular topic that is a big issue in the world and needs a lot of discussion to bring attention to it. And what's happening in the world, I just thought it'd be quite good because I've seen a lot online about people doing news on TikTok, for instance, and it's really reaching a whole new. But what I think would be best is sports, as that is something I know a lot about. It doesn't require as much new knowledge, as I have quite big knowledge in sports already. And I really feel like I'd be more comfortable doing this. And although I do want to go out of my comfort zone, I do want to be able to explore new areas of the sports, and that is something I'm really hoping to do. So I'll be talking about boxing because that is something that I dedicate my life to pretty much. Like it's something that I'm heavily involved in. So I'm hoping to create a podcast about current fights, previous fights, controversial decisions, controversial fights. I've done a lot of research into the current fight fighters. So, for instance, Kate Taylor's or Canelo Tyson. It's all like research examples. So I've got some of the fights. The Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor was a really big controversy due to these scorecards. There's points taken off of people, and the guy that got knocked down won the fight with a really bad scorecard. So we went to like the boxing board to have a look at the judging, and nothing really came from it. And now his ranks are completely messed up due to it. So it's really affected it. So my target audience is extremely wide because there's not really an age you can put on the sport. It's not really something you can be like, oh, well, it's something like 15 to 25-year-olds. It's a very dynamic sport. There's all cultures, ethnicities, there's all age ranges. So currently at my gym, I've seen a 5-year-old training, and there's also a 75-year-old doing training. So it's literally the biggest spectrum of like audience that you can possibly have. So I found it really hard to try and narrow it down. So that is what I've done. So from the big discussion that we had on whether I should do football or not, and we asked the whole class if they'd listened to football or boxing podcast. And I don't mean to be sly, but I don't think anyone in this class would actually listen to a sports podcast. I don't think it's something that they'd sit down and listen to. So in all honesty, their opinion didn't really count which one would be better. So the boxing one just made more sense. And looking at statistics from all different like promotional things for boxing. So DAZN currently has 4 million or over 4 million subscribers. So that's a monthly subscription that they've got. And that means that there are 4 million people wanting to watch boxing and that are solely interested, because that's mainly all DAZN show, except from a few women's sort of games, but like that's not really what people watch on it. And it's a whole catalog of old fights, new fights, you don't have to pay for pay-per-view. So it's a monthly subscription. So that's what people are mainly going for at the minute. And in 2019, they had 507 million hours watched of boxing. And in 2018, they had 256 million. So the statistics are going up and up, bigger it's getting, as Eddie from Matchroom Boxing has now taken over DAZN, so it's bringing even more attention to it. So I'll put this into action. I'm hoping to get guests on. So I'm maybe looking at some of my coaches, some of the professional boxers at my gym. But I think one of the main ones, and getting someone else is, but my dad, because I feel very comfortable with him. He takes me to all my sessions. He's always watching the boxing with me. So I find it something that I could bounce off of him very well. It wouldn't be like regular play that I did in my unit 12, where I found it quite awkward because it's a set script. But with someone that I know, I feel like I can bounce off them really easy. But again, with expanding my style, I need to get out of my comfort zone to maybe talk to new people instead of always being comfortable. But I'll write a guideline question, so where I want the podcast to go, kind of like just a guideline so it doesn't go off on a complete tangent. But I'll also create a like fact file about who we're going to talk about, so they can research for themselves almost if they really want to. But there's the baseline research of everyone, the fights that I'm wanting to talk about, the controversy, and everything. So what's recorded podcasts, because that will bring it a whole new platform. So it could be uploaded to YouTube, not just the podcast sites. And I know that podcasts that are possible, they usually do it whilst they're multitasking, so they have it on in the background. But some people are more visual, so they'd like to watch it. So I'm hoping to do a video. I've looked into people that do video podcasts. There. So, like, for example, Stefan Paulson, the Joe Experience, they're all videos, but they're also on podcast platforms as well. But with Stefan Paulson, he does two types. So you can see the other podcaster, and then he does his own videos where he's just really talking to the almost feels like audience. He says it as it's a conversation for you. And I felt that really helped getting more connected to them, like you felt involved, like wasn't just listening to someone else's conversation, for instance. And I really like the different camera angles, so that's indirectly looking at you, but slightly off to the side, so it's like you're looking from an angle like you're watching it all unfold. And then that you can see both of the podcasters like having the discussion, so it's like you're watching them, like you are involved, but you see how I reach my target audience. So in my unit 12, I did something similar. So I chose boxing again, but I did it in a radio format and a podcast format. And I found that the podcast format was a lot easier to do. So I'm going to go onto Twitter and show clips of what I'm thinking to do, like the styles I'm thinking of, and get polls on which one they would prefer listening to. So then I have an interactive audience like involved. It's not just my own decision or the class's decision. And then I talk to the class, ask like how they'd feel about this type of style. And then I'll also do drafts of the shows, like make sure I can show it in my gym, so I can be like, would you listen to this? And then maybe get like the honest tally chart. So yes, they would listen to it. No, they probably wouldn't bother listening to it. this really doesn't want to work. So how I will evaluate my work. So like I said, Twitter is a really big format. There's so many different sports fans, people that watch all types of sports and people that are just dedicated to boxing. My whole Twitter page is dedicated to boxing. So everyone I have on there is either from radio or boxing. So it's the perfect time for audience to get my podcast onto to like ask for them. And then again, I have to ask them last because I trust that they have an honest opinion, sometimes brutal, but honest opinion. And I'll be able to correct my work, maybe do another draft, see how it goes, and I can learn from there to really get that experience to create a personality in radio.
No, genuinely, I feel you've covered everything. So you told us of your objectives, showed the events there, how you reach your audience. Daniel, have you got any questions?
What kind of methods do you think you could look at to help yourself feel more confident and have an interview style that is closer to what you would like it to be, more bubbly and friendly?
So I haven't got it on here, but I have like 200 or 300 research slides of everything that I'm looking at. I couldn't fit all of it here because there is a time limit and that would take hours. But I'm looking at YouTube videos and podcasts. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to radio because even though I'm not doing radio, it's still a big personality. That is my end goal at the end of the day. So I'm looking at how they interact, who interacts with that. Because again, my dad's very like radio and he watches all the like clips on Facebook of them. And they do get a bit annoying when he's constantly showing them. But I know he's actually interested in them. It's not just a push aside and listening to it in the background. He's genuinely like, involved.
Any questions? Oh, Kieran's got one.
You mentioned YouTube. Have you considered Spotify as well? So
I need to try and figure out. I honestly don't know how you would upload on Spotify. I haven't figured that out yet. But I did find a platform called, I think it's called Buzzsprout, which is like, I don't know, I stumbled across it when I was looking at podcasts and I found you don't have to have a cost because I don't have the financial thing to pay for everything. So it's like, I think you get an hour or two free every week. And I think that's more than enough to like promote my thing. And then after this, I'll continue to carry it on because that will really help.
have you seen the Twitter talk space? Have you ever considered that?
Oh, I've not actually gone on it, but that's actually a really good idea. And like, yeah, I might look at that. Definitely.
Brilliant. Thank you, Maddie.